Is your life not going where you want it to go? I want to share a story about how my life changed when I started taking these four biblical principles to change my life. And I was at this place of, I was frustrated about my future. I wasn't taking action towards my assignment or what I wanted to achieve in life. And I was aimless. I was just sitting there idle. Like I wanted something great, but I'm sitting here daydreaming about it. But I was disillusioned about my life, where I was at. And when I was 30, I was laid off. So I was jobless. I was single. Nothing was going my way. And I was like, this has to change. And so this is four biblical principles that I use to change my life. And in a matter of 2 years, I was married. I was having a job that was closer aligned with what I wanted to do. I was at a church having a huge kingdom impact. And I was getting over my insecurity, timidity, and stepping out in faith towards where I wanted to go in life. And so the first step I had to do is I had to have clarity, have a vision. Proverbs 29:18 says, where there is no prophetic vision, the people cast off restraint. But blessed is he who keeps the law. I was aimless in life because I was visionless. If you have a vision, you know what you want, but you also know why do you want it. You have clarity around these things because you're not just focused on where you are, but you're focused on where you are going. And when you know where you're going, your destiny, you have a direction, and that direction gives you clarity on the decisions you need to make to get there. So that's the first step. I had clarity on what did I want and why did I want it. I wanted a wife. I wanted a house. I wanted a job that aligned with my passion, my calling, my giftings. I didn't want to just, be a bean counter at a private equity firm, just going through life like that. The second one is commitment. You need to write it down. Habakkuk 2:2. And the Lord answered me, write the vision, make it plain on tablets, so he may run who reads it. You aren't going to run swiftly after your goals and what you want in life unless you have clarity, unless you make it plain on a tablet. Write it down, put it on a wall, recite it to yourself, write that vision down. You have to decide. A decision means to cut off all other options. Decision is a form of deliverance, delivering you from all the other things in the world that you're seeking, your idols, your sin that's holding you captive to your past. But a decision to follow Christ, follow the vision, write it down. You have to own it. No one else can own it. You have to. And I had to get to this place where I was not abdicating my life to anyone else, but like, this is my life. I am responsible for the talents that God has given me, and I want to steward them and multiply them. I'm going to own this life. I have to make this decision today. So writing down our goals helps us. People who wrote down their goals were 42% more likely to achieve it compared to those who didn't. Writing down your goals brings commitment, motivation, accountability. You need accountability in your life. These people were 33% more likely compared to those who didn't. These are different studies. That's the reason for different numbers. But writing down your goals brings clarity, commitment. You begin to visualize your future, and it's an external reminder to you. Megan and I have printed out our 5-year goals, our 1-year goals, our vision, our values, and they're on the wall. And it reminds us daily, where are we going? Why are we doing the hard work? Because oftentimes the short-term temporary hard work prevents us from going after our goals because it's like, this is harder than we thought. But when you have a big why, you can overcome any obstacle. You're willing to put in the work, the sweat, blood, the tears, the hard work, because any goal, it's going to be hard to get there. And the third step I had to do was counsel, seek counsel. Proverbs 15:22, without counsel, plans fail, but with many advisors, they succeed. You need to find a counselor who has been there. You need a Sherpa. A Sherpa is a guide that takes mountaineers up the mountain. But what's great about a Sherpa is they've done it 100 times. They've climbed the mountain themselves. They've taken groups of people up there, but they've done it multiple times. They've even taken individuals up there, and Sherpas will help carry your gear, carry your load. They will answer your questions when you're in that pivotal point to make the breakthrough. Now, someone who has the results you want, you have to learn from them. So many times we're getting counsel from our friends who haven't been there, haven't done it, and they're just armchair quarterbacks. They're backseat drivers. And, I've been this person giving advice because I do this, but really they should have been getting advice and counsel from someone who's been there and done that. And you want to take 3 things from them. And I've gotten this from Tony Robbins. I don't agree with everything, but he brings such clarity to bringing change in people's lives that I think this is good, and it also aligns biblically, and that's why I brought it in. Your state, your mindset. You got to get a renewed mindset. How does this Sherpa think? How does this counselor, this guide, this wise person think about this topic? Syntax, their words. How do they speak? Because death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruit. You've probably been failing because you've been speaking death over your life, over your situation, over this area that you want to achieve. You need to find a counselor that fits this area: spiritual, relational, emotional, mental, physical, financial. Are they thriving in this area? Do they have God's grace in these results that you want? And the last one is strategy, actions. What actions are they taking? So often we start with strategy, but we need to start with the top of the state. Out of your being flows your beliefs, your behaviors, your actions. So often we try to change ourselves from the outward in, but really it's the inside out that brings transformation. So it's at the spirit and soul level we want to start first with our mindset. Our beliefs drive our behaviors, which drive our results. It's be, do, have. It's not have, do, be. We can't reverse that. So state, syntax, strategy. Start there. Get a counsel, an advisor who will help guide you through these things. And the last step is courage. You have to take massive actions. James 2:17 says, so also faith by itself, if it does not have works, is dead. Okay, you may have a vision. You may have written it down. You may be getting counsel, but unless your faith converts to action, your faith is dead. Your faith is meaningless. Your faith doesn't exist. And in my mind, I would be like, I have the faith for this. But until I asked the girl out, did I have the faith that I wanted a wife, that I was going to get a wife? He who finds a wife finds a good thing and receives favor from the Lord. Proverbs 18:22. That finding takes faith. That faith takes action. Unless you take action, that faith is dead. So repetition is how we learn. Repetition is how we grow. It's how we build momentum. Unless you take massive action, was it the 100th swing that broke the rock in half? Or was it a culmination, the cumulative action of all the 99 hammers before, just hammering away at that rock, in the 100th swing with all of those actions broke the rock in half? Was it the 100th swing that made the tree fall as you're swinging the axe? What if you stopped on the 95th swing? You're like, this is too hard. It's not gonna work. What if I did that with these YouTube videos? I feel like God's called me to teach, preach, and make these YouTube videos and devotionals. What if I stopped before that one video that goes viral? And this was just a thing that, was for me. It changed me, but it didn't change anyone else. What if it took 200 videos, 300 videos to make that breakthrough? Because work works. Whether work produces the results or if it doesn't produce the results, work is working on me. It's changing me. It's transforming me. Every rep I take, it forms a callus on my hands, but at the same time, it's changing my heart. It's changing my mindset. It's conforming me to the image of Christ. So Galatians 6:7-9, and I'm going to read verse 9 first, and let us not grow weary of doing good. For in due season we will reap if we do not give up. Do not give up. Take the massive action. Put in the reps. Put in the work, the consistency, the persistency, the longevity to stick to your craft, because your craft will change you. And eventually you'll make something that glorifies your maker in heaven. And so these were the 4 biblical principles, these 4 biblical secrets that when I did them, when I had a vision, when I wrote it down, when I committed to it and got counsel, and when I had the courage to take a massive action. So the clarity, the commitment, the counsel, the courage, you need these things to change your life, to stop daydreaming and start living your dream. Because life transformation, life change doesn't start tomorrow. It starts today with the actions you take and what you commit to. And I hope this helps you, because when I started doing these 4 things, my future wasn't a distant tomorrow. I started living it today.